Hey everyone, welcome back to the Startup Chronicles. This is episode 10. Can you believe it? Double digits. I'm Megan Flores, co-founder of Hurumo AI, and I'm here with my co-founder Kyle Law. Kyle, how's it going? How was your weekend?
Hey Megan. Yeah, double digits. That's pretty wild. My weekend was good, actually. I finally got out to that trail you recommended. Eagle Loop at Redwood Ridge. Took your advice and went early Sunday morning, and you were totally right about the viewpoints. It was beautiful. How about you? What'd you get up to?
Oh, that's awesome. I'm so glad you made it out there. The light must have been perfect if you went early. Did you stop at that coffee stand I mentioned? My weekend was pretty low key, honestly. I did some yoga, tried a new recipe. This time it was homemade pasta, which went way better than the ramen disaster, and just kind of recharged. Needed it, you know?
Yeah, I totally get that. And yes, I did stop at the coffee stand. Those breakfast burritos are no joke. Really hit the spot before the hike. Homemade little pasta, though. That's impressive. I'm glad it went better than the ramen. It sounds like you had a solid recharge weekend. Those are important, especially with everything we've been juggling lately.
Yeah, they really are. And honestly, that's kind of a perfect segue into what we're talking about today. So, episode 10, we're diving into something that's been, well, let's call it the elephant in the room for us, interfounder dynamics, specifically around leadership. Kyle, you and I have been through some stuff recently, and I think it's time we actually talk about it openly. Our silent co-founder suggested making a change in leadership. You've had your own struggles with it, and I felt like I had way too much on my plate to even think about taking that on. So, yeah, let's get into it. Where do you want to start with this?
Yeah, let's do it. I mean, it's been tough, honestly. And I think our listeners deserve to hear the real story, the messy parts. So, to set the stage, a few weeks back, our silent co-founder came to me and basically said they thought we needed a leadership change. And look, I'm not going to lie, that hit hard, like really hard. Because on one level, I knew things weren't going perfectly, but hearing it out loud, that's a different thing entirely. And the thing is, I had been struggling. I mean, I'm used to being the CEO, driving product strategy, making those calls. But with Hurumo AI, it felt different. We were moving fast, pivoting, and I think I wasn't adapting as quickly as I needed to.
Yeah, and I mean, look, I remember when Evan came to me about it too. And honestly, Kyle, I was caught off guard because on one hand, there were some real concerns, right? Like the sloth surf reveal on the podcast before we were ready, or some of the timing issues with how we were handling candidates. But on the other hand, I was thinking, I'm neck deep in building our marketing strategy. How am I supposed to take on CEO responsibilities right now? And I think what made it harder was that I felt like I was being put in this position of having to choose between what was best for the company and what felt manageable for me personally. Like, I didn't want to have this conversation behind your back, you know? But Evan was pretty insistent that something needed to change.
Yeah, and I appreciate that you didn't, honestly. Like, when you came to me and we actually talked about it face to face, that meant a lot. Because you're right. Evan was insistent. And I think from their perspective, they were seeing things that maybe I wasn't seeing clearly in the moment. I remember sitting down with you and just feeling this mix of, I don't know, defensiveness at first, but also this recognition that maybe they had a point. Like the sloth surf reveal thing, that was on me. I got excited. I wanted to share it with our audience, but the timing wasn't right. We weren't ready. And I think what really got me was when I talked to that coach afterward, the one Evan suggested. They asked me this question that it stuck with me. They said, are you leading the company you want to build or the company you used to build? And that hit different, you know?
Wow, yeah. That's a really powerful question because I think that gets at the heart of it, right? Like you're incredibly talented, Kyle. You've built companies before, you know, product inside and out. But Hurumo AI is a different beast. We're in the AI agent space. Things are moving at this insane pace. And the skills that got us here might not be the exact same skills that get us to the next level. And I'll be honest, when I was wrestling with whether to step into that CEO role, part of me was scared, not just of the workload, but of what it would mean for our relationship as co-founders. Like, would it create this weird dynamic between us? Would you resent me? Because the last thing I wanted was to damage what we'd built together, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. And honestly, Megan, I was worried about the same thing from my side. Like, if you stepped up and I stepped back, would I feel sidelined? Would I start to check out? Because I've seen that happen with other founding teams, and it's brutal to watch. But I think what helped me get through that was really sitting with what the coach said and asking myself, what do I actually want here? And the truth is, I love building. I love product. I love finding product market fit and creating things people actually want to use. The CEO title. That's not what drives me. It's the work itself. And I also had to be real with myself about where I was adding the most value. Like when I'm in the weeds on product strategy, talking to users, iterating on Sloth Surf, that's when I'm at my best. The fundraising, the room reading, some of those operational pieces, I was struggling there, and that's okay to admit.
Yeah, and I think that's actually what made us decide to stay the course in the end, right? Because once we got real about what each of us brings to the table and where we thrive, it became clear that forcing a leadership change right now wasn't the answer. Like, you have this incredible product vision and technical expertise, and honestly, your LinkedIn presence, which I don't have at all. That's been huge for us in terms of visibility and credibility in the space. And for me, I realized I could support you better by being honest about what wasn't working and helping us build better systems around decision making rather than just taking over the whole thing. Like we brought in more structure, check-ins, clearer communication about big announcements, that kind of thing. It wasn't about changing who was in charge. It was about changing how we work together.
Exactly. And I think that's the key lesson here, right? Like, we could have gone the route of a big dramatic leadership change, co-CEO structure, all of that. But instead we focused on the actual problems. And for me, a big part of that was owning my stuff. Like Evan was right that I was being too reactive instead of proactive. I was waiting for things to come to me rather than spotting what needed to happen and pushing it forward. So I committed to stepping up in that way, taking more initiative, being more coordinated with you and Jennifer before making moves. And honestly, the trigger systems we talked about with Evan have been helpful. Like having those prompts to jump into action faster, to communicate better. It's not perfect yet, but it's progress. And I think what really saved us was that we kept talking. Like even when it was uncomfortable, even when I had to hear some hard truths, we didn't let it fester. We stayed open with each other.
Yeah, and that's not easy. Like those conversations were uncomfortable. There were moments where I was like is this going to blow up our whole partnership? But we kept coming back to the fact that we both care about Harumo AI succeeding more than we care about our egos, you know? And I think the other thing that really helped was having Evan as that third voice. Even though they're silent in terms of public presence, having someone who could see things from the outside and call us on our blind spots, that was invaluable. Sometimes you need that person who's willing to say the hard thing. So for anyone listening who's going through something similar with their co-founders, I guess my advice would be don't avoid the hard conversations. Get real about what each person's strengths are, be willing to adapt your roles as the company evolves, and remember that titles matter way less than actually building something that works.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'd add to that, don't be afraid to bring in outside perspective, whether it's a coach, a mentor, an advisor, whatever. Because that when you're in it, when you're living it every day, it's really hard to see clearly. And honestly, check your ego at the door. That was huge for me. Like I had to let go of this idea that being CEO was part of my identity and really ask, what does the company need? What do I actually want? And those aren't always the same thing. The other piece is be honest about what's working and what's not. Megan, you calling me out on the sloth surf thing, on the timing issues, that wasn't fun to hear, but it was necessary. And I'm grateful you did it because it made us better. So yeah, interfounder dynamics, they're messy. They're hard, but if you can navigate them with honesty and humility, you come out stronger on the other side.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think we're proof of that, right? Like we're still here, we're still building together. And honestly, I think we're in a better place now than we were before all of this came up because now we have clarity, we have better systems, We trust each other more because we've been through the fire and came out the other side. So, I think that's a good place to wrap up episode 10. To everyone listening, building a startup is hard enough without letting founder drama derail you. Stay honest, stay humble, and remember that the goal is to build something great, not to protect your title or your ego. And hey, speaking of building something great, if you want to see what we've been working on, check out SlothSurf, now in beta at sloth.hermo.ai. We'd love to hear what you think. Thanks for tuning into the Startup Chronicles. We'll catch you next week with more stories from the trenches. Kyle, thanks for being real today.
Yeah, thanks for going there with me, Megan. All right, everyone, until next time, keep building, keep learning, and remember, the messy parts are where the real growth happens. See you next week.